Hello, welcome to Family Business World. I'm Dr. Dale Caldwell, your host. I have the opportunity I have all sorts of amazing people on this show, but Randall Pinkett has been a friend. He is a celebrity in more ways than one. And so, Randall, welcome, the CEO of BCT Partners. How are you?
I'm very well, Dale. Thank you for having me on the program, my friend. Good to see you. Good to connect with you as always. And real honor to be a part of the conversation today.
Well, thank you. I know how busy you are, and so for you to take time out to be part of this. So first, Randall, now Randall is a Rhodes Scholar, a Byers Award winner with the NCAA, academics, athletics. Tell me a little bit about you. Where were you born? Where did you come from? Where did you go to high school and college?
So born in Philadelphia, raised right here in the Garden State, New Jersey. Grew up in a small town, East Windsor. Went to Hightstown High School, public high school.
Okay.
Matriculated to Rutgers University. So I've got New Jersey written all over me. And connected with three classmates at Rutgers, Lawrence Hibbert, Jeffrey Robinson, Dallas Grundy. We caught the entrepreneurial bug when we were students at Rutgers, started our first company when we were in our teens, and I've never looked back. I've been blessed to have a great family, great parents who instilled values in me and stressed the importance of excellence. And I owe my where I stand today to the many people who sacrificed and invested in me, for whom I'm eternally grateful.
Well, now again, and your humility is certainly one of your. So let's, because I want to go into, because we'll get to BCT Partners and so what was that first business when you were a teenager? What was that first business you started?
So for your younger listeners, and I know you have a connection to the campus. It was selling compact discs. I went out and spoke at a high school and asked them, do you all know what a compact disc? And one of the young people raised their hand and said, you mean the big black disc? I said, no, young man, that's a record.
That is funny. And so these were music tapes? You were selling those discs?
We found a wholesaler in Philadelphia that would ship us music, compact discs, and also cassette tapes, quite frankly. They would ship it overnight. So we would go from dormitory to dormitory into the dining hall at Rutgers and take orders from students.
I love it.
Take their money and then place the order, have it delivered the next day to them in the dining hall, and we were carrying around backpacks of music.
I love it.
And that was our first venture, Dale.
So you must have been a track star in high school. You were. What events did you do? What did you do?
Yeah, so I was varsity soccer, varsity basketball, varsity track and field. I actually got some offers to play basketball Division III, but I opted to take a full scholarship from Rutgers for Division I track and field. I was primarily a long jumper and a high jumper, but on occasion, when somebody got injured or they needed a fifth sprinter for the relays, they would put me on the 4x1 or the 4x2, and I would lace up my spikes and sprint.
I just found out actually this week that my alma mater, Princeton University, has this year its first African-American valedictorian. Now I tell folks, I didn't want to be the first, that's why I wasn't valedictorian, but it's not true. But your academic excellence, so you were excellent in track and academically. What was it about getting A's that was so important to you? Why was that important?
Well, Dale, it's a combination of three factors. One is the values that my parents instilled in me to always do my best, and they would settle for nothing less. My parents were unwavering in expecting my older brother and I to do our best. But also, second, when I arrived at Rutgers, it was within months of my father passing away. And pursuant to that, my mom had to work 2 jobs. And seeing my mother's sacrifice in the wake of my father's death really ignited a fire in me that said, if she can sacrifice to give you this opportunity to be in college, the best you can do is take advantage of the opportunity to be at college. And so I really stepped up my game I did very well in high school, but I did exceedingly well at Rutgers. And third, I think it really gets back to finding this intersection of passion and gifts. Passion being the things that you love to do, and gifts being the things you're naturally able to do.
Right.
So I had a passion for entrepreneurship, but I had a gift for technology. So it's no surprise that after I finished at Rutgers, I went on to become a technology entrepreneur because it combined my passion and my gifts, which brought out the very best in me when I was at Rutgers.
So you applied. Did someone push you to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship, or and you were and so you were selected? And that's one of 32 people in the country. It's 32, right? 32 people in the country who are selected. Out of all the college students, one of 32 people. And Cory, I know Cory Booker, Senator Booker was another one. So that must have been an amazing. How many people of color were of those 32? Your class, your year.
Right. So our year, we actually did very well. There were 5 Rhodes Scholars the year that I won. Wow. And among them was Nima Warfield, who was the first Rhodes Scholar from a historically black college and university. He was a Morehouse. Oh, wonderful. Morehouse grad, and from New Jersey, Plainfield High School.
Oh, really? All right. Go Jersey.
Black Rhodes Scholar from an HBCU.
Wow.
And to answer your earlier question, it was 3 people who encouraged me to apply for the Rhodes, because Dale, I had never heard of the Rhodes Scholarship. It was Professor Bill Mayo at Rutgers, Professor Chris Rose at Rutgers, and the advisor to the National Society of Black Engineers, Dean Donald Brown. All 3 of them said, dude, you need to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship. And to make a long story short, I ignored them, Dale. I was like, I'm too busy. But then they did not let it go. They made me apply. And it's because of them, I ended up becoming the first black Rhodes Scholar in the history of Rutgers. Wow. To receive that award.
Wow. Now there was the Walter Byers Award. Now tell me about that too. That award.
Yeah, I'm really proud of being a Walter Byers Scholar. The Walter Byers Scholar is given to the top male scholar athlete and the top female scholar athlete in the NCAA.
Unbelievable.
And I did well as a track and field athlete, as captain of the Rutgers team, and as we just discussed, I did exceedingly well academically, and I received that award alongside a woman named Krista Gannon, who also was the female recipient of the award, and it was a tremendous honor. And I actually went on years later to be inducted to the NCAA Academic All-American Hall of Fame alongside Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a dream come true. So you must have been darn good in track as well. So you on the national, for that, to have that kind of attention. And so did you start BCT around that time, or was that later in your career? When did that start?
No, good question, Dale. So my partners and I have been together 27 years. Wow. Across about 5 ventures. So we started with the compact discs. Right. And if I fast forward, we launched our first full-time venture in 1993, which was MBS Educational Services and Training. 2011, 9/11, the tragic events of September 11th, 2001, we were about 7-8 years into MBS, and training required travel, and people stopped traveling. And so MBS was literally, went from August of 2001 to September of 2001, from life to death. Wow. Like the company crashed and burned. And so we retooled the company and founded BCT alongside the demise of MBS. Right. And so we've been at BCT since roughly January of 2000, which is why we're celebrating 20 years of BCT here in 2020. And that's how BCT came to be. And the name BCT, how did you get the BCT? Does it stand for anything? It did. When we first launched the company, our vision was building communities with technology and leveraging our engineering talents and our technology expertise to help build healthy communities. And now our mission at BCT is to provide insights about diverse people that lead to equity. And we leverage technology still to this day. Mm-hmm. We leverage management consulting and research and training still to this day. getting back to our MBS roots.
Right.
And now we're also bringing in big data and data analytics to really power all of our work. And so we have evolved from building community with technology, which was then the full BCT, to now just BCT, which is providing insights about diverse people that lead to equity.
Well, I want to talk more about that, but I can't have you on the show without talking about this guy named Donald Trump that had a TV show and hosted a TV show and called The Apprentice, and you were on season 4, and you won that. I mean, again, excellence, and again, those of us who knew you said, well, Randall is the best out there, so he should definitely. What was that experience like? I mean, as you went through that, being African American, what was that experience like?
So Dale, let me begin by saying, I'm glad I didn't let you down.
But I will tell you, you wouldn't have let us down.
I got fired on the first episode of The Apprentice. It's like, yeah, Randall's the best out there, but man, he didn't represent on the show.
Well, but see, we knew you wouldn't let us down, but the system would let us down. That we knew you were the best out there. Now, whether they were going to, and I have to say for the show, the fact that you were so good that they tried to, because there was a piece at the end that I'll talk to you about splitting that they just couldn't. It was hard for them to deal with the fact that you were that much better than everybody.
Yes. So for those that are watching that are not familiar with The Apprentice, although it gets lots of attention because of the president or the man who occupies the White House, it's a reality television show where 18 candidates compete each week on a business task. Each task, someone wins, someone loses. The losing team, somebody gets fired. Single elimination each week, getting down to the final 2. I ended up being named the winner of the show. And it was, to answer your question, Dale, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed being on The Apprentice, especially because I won. because if you watch the show, you realize that if you're fired that week, you are almost guaranteed to look bad. You're almost guaranteed. So that the decision of firing you looks justified in the eyes of the viewers. And so I emerged relatively unscathed. I had a couple of tasks that were a little dicey, but as the winner, I went on to run one of Donald's companies in Atlantic City. I had the opportunity to elevate my profile as an entrepreneur and to shine a light on what we're doing at BCT. And so I have nothing but fond memories. Other than the finale, I have nothing but fond memories.
Right. And just for those of you who know, Randall was chosen the winner and the runner-up, and Trump, Donald Trump, at the time, for the only time he's ever done that, has said, hey, would you guys share the first place prize? And those of us that watched were really, really insulted by that he'd never done that before, but why would he do it in this instance? And so, we'll let the audience to come up with their own reasons why. Were you taken aback by that? Was that a surprise that he offered that?
Well, let me just be clear and echo something you said, because it reflects and reflected my perspective. It was insulting. Mm-hmm. It was very insulting. Yeah. And without getting into too much detail, if you compared my performance against my adversary, it was not a tie.
It wasn't even close.
And so the proposition of asking me to share, when he never asked anyone before, mm-hmm. and he never asked anyone after, and right. I'm going to go deeper here. And of the 7 seasons of The Apprentice, I'm the only person of any color who ever won on The Apprentice. Mm. It was 6 whites, and then it was Randall. Like, that was how the show went down for the 7 seasons. So that made it even more insulting.
Right.
And it begs the question, not why didn't Randall share, but why did he ask me to share in the first place? Exactly. That's the question. Right? And so, so while I was insulted at the question, I got to say this, Dale, I remained and was very proud of my response. Mm-hmm. And my response almost verbatim was, if there's going to be any winner tonight, it's going to be one, and it's going to be me.
Right.
And so if the idea of the show is there's going to be an apprentice,
Right.
then there's not going to be what I said at the time, no apprentice, no double winners. Shut that down. Shut it down.
Well, that was a brilliant response, and those of us that were watching were just very, very, very proud that we knew you. And so, so the accolades don't stop. And before I talk about BCT Partners and what you've achieved there, I get another milestone. So after Rutgers, it wasn't enough to get all this stuff. So after Rutgers, you got how many master's degrees?
Let me mention, I also made up a word, apprenti, because it should have been apprentices, but I say it's the apprentice, P-I-E-T-I. So after Rutgers, Rhodes Scholarship took me to Oxford, studied there, got my master's in computer science, came back to the US to MIT, and I got a second master's in electrical engineering. I got a third master's in business administration, my MBA, and then I continued on to earn my PhD at MIT in media technology. And in fact, to tie a few dots together, the focus of my doctoral dissertation, this will come as no surprise, was building community with technology.
There you go.
And so I spun out some of the work I did in the MIT Media Lab into BCT Partners as I became employee number 4 as I graduated MIT and went right into BCT. Get this, Dale, working out of a garage in Plainfield with no air conditioning and no heat.
Wow.
And squirrels in the ceiling. That was my startup experience after MIT.
Wow. The Hewlett-Packard startup experience, the whole garage development. So now BCT, so another milestone. When I was a kid, those of us who are African-American grew up, Black Enterprise is our business magazine, and I always dreamed about having a company in the top 100. And so, I remember looking and see BCT is in the top 100. So talk about that journey. That's yet another amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, it is arguably one of the crowning accomplishments of my entrepreneurial career. I was like you, Dale. I grew up with Black Enterprise magazine, and I would marvel at the companies on the BE 100. In fact, I knew a gentleman named Steve Yellity who was on the BE 100 and was based in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And he came and spoke at Rutgers. And you would have thought that I met Michael Jordan.
Right. Exactly. That's the way
I was in awe of this guy, BE 100. And so 2019, we made our first appearance on the BE 100. I suspect we'll be back again in 2020. But we came in at number 92 on the BE 100
wow. You made it, man.
of America's largest Black-owned businesses. And my partners and I, and in particular our president and my business partner, Lawrence Hibbert, we are just elated to be able to say, and for our parents to see that we've been able to reach this milestone and now celebrate 20 years in business. And I'll say this last thing, Dale. I believe that and you talk a lot about family business, and the personal nature of business. I think that the greatest testimony to our journey is that after 27 years, we're still together and we're still friends.
Right.
I describe us as New Edition without Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown drama. I love it. And in fact, in a few weeks, I'm interviewing Gene Waddy, who was another member of that elite group.
My fraternity brother, fellow Alpha Phi Alpha brother, and a friend.
Yep. And we're going to take in a short break, but I want to come back and talk about some of what you've done with BCT Partners, clients and other things. So.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacqueline. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacqueline.com to book an appointment today.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCT Partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCT Partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Makes sense.
Well, welcome back. We're here at Family Business World with Dr. Randall Pinkett, who's a good friend and certainly one of the most accomplished people I have ever met, and one of the nicest and most humble. We were just talking about BCT Partners. So talk to me. What kind of clients do you do? What kind of clients are you looking for? What kind of services? So tell me a little more about the business.
Yeah. So BCT. Again, our mission is to provide insights about diverse people that lead to equity. And there's three key words in that mission: insights, diversity, and equity. Our end game is trying to create a more equitable society, address disparities in society, mitigate inequities in society, whether that's housing inequities, health disparities, inequities in education, for the services that support children and families, in the economy, in all of these different walks of life that support healthy families, healthy children, and healthy communities. That's what we do. The diversity speaks for itself. We're living in an increasingly diverse society. And the insights is around two components. How can we, BCT, provide greater insights to our clients that can lead to action? And how can those actions lead to greater equity? And so we are a multidisciplinary consulting firm. We provide research, training, management consulting, technology, and data analytics.
Wonderful.
Our clients are federal, state, and local government agencies, Fortune 500 corporations, private foundations, educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, and even faith-based institutions who are all seeking to better understand who do they serve, how can they better understand them using all the tools I mentioned: research, technology, training, analytics, consulting, that they can generate greater equity in communities, in families, and in society.
Wonderful.
And in fact, if you go to our website now at bctpartners.com, a good example of our work, we just launched a COVID-19, what we call CUSP, C-U-S-P, for a COVID-19 Urgent Service Provider Support Tool.
Wonderful.
COVID-19 Urgent Service Provider Support Tool, which is a free big data tool.
Wonderful.
That combines census data, IRS data, CDC data, where you can pull up a map, go into communities across the country, see which communities are in greatest need, which organizations are best positioned to address those needs, food security, job retraining, health clinics, and then you can see their specific service area and understand their financial viability if you want to support those organizations to address the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wonderful.
It's one example of work we're doing at BCT that leverages insights about diverse people that lead to equity.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, one of the things I want to work with is, you know, I'm a professor and I run the Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and one of the things that's very, very clear. And so we have a Family Business Friday program where at 12 noon, we've done it for the last 6 weeks. We have everybody from the SBA to Tim Sullivan from the EDA. And I like to show a graph. There's a graph that shows unemployment in 2009, about 700,000. Now it's 30 million. And we're a small business economy. And so I say we need a Dow Jones. Everybody reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average, but that doesn't really tell you anything about most of America. And so what I'd love to work with you on is developing a small business Dow Jones index, something that we can report, we can measure every day to say, what is the health of small business in this country? Unemployment numbers. And so that kind of data, so that and we can help publicize. Being a university working, and one of the things I've learned being a university, I get a certain kind of credibility that if it was a business that they would think you're just trying to make money. So I'd love to talk to you about that, because I think we need that now, because Dow Jones has really let us down, when it comes to measuring how healthy this country is. And so your company is the perfect one to do that analytics. So respond to that. I think we're near time, but would love your thoughts on that.
I think it's a great idea, Dale. And one thing I love about you is you think outside the box. and the idea you're offering up is an innovative and creative idea for how we think differently about how we value businesses, we think about the capitalization of businesses, how we think about equity markets in relationship to businesses, and how we elevate. And this is something we talked about before we got onto the interview, is how do we elevate the appreciation and the acknowledgement of the importance of small business, family business, local business to our economy and to our society. So I think it's an innovative idea, and I think we need more of that kind of thinking. So there's one thing that this pandemic has made clear is the vital importance of small businesses, local businesses, family businesses to our livelihood and to our society. So I applaud you, Dale. I hope that you do move forward with that and other ideas that I know you've been advocating.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can. I see the Pinkett Caldwell Index, instead of Dow Jones, Pinkett Caldwell Index. So, it talks about. The other thing that actually I wrote this article about, having public agencies report on their website. Now, I'm Vice President of New Brunswick Board of Education, and all agencies could do that. How much they're spending with New Jersey certified veteran businesses, New Jersey certified women businesses, and New Jersey certified minority businesses. An example in this article, I talk about the $2 billion that Camden, Jersey City, and Newark spend in their budget. If 5% were spent, that'd be $150 million could be spent on transportation, food, janitorial, all sorts of things, to really get money, because right now, government doesn't have money to really get small businesses out of this chaos.
That's right. No, that's exactly right. And some of the underlying dynamics that we're seeing in this new normal are exactly that. What are the capital markets that exist? And stated differently, what are the capital markets that have not existed?
Right.
In order to sustain, not just sustain business, but help businesses to grow. Probably my greatest frustration at being a business owner has been the dearth of access to capital and the difficulty in getting access to capital. I mean, my experience with banks is that they will take our revenue, average it over the last 3 years, take about 20%, and that's the amount of capital that they extend to us. Right. But that's a historical perspective. That says nothing about where I am and where I'm trying to go. You're capitalizing me based on where I've been. And so we've got to think differently, to your point, Dale, about how do we capitalize and how do we create equity markets and debt markets that are more amenable and are more oriented toward the realities of what it takes to grow a business. Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Pinkett, Randall, thank you so much. This has been one of my most enjoyable shows, because it's just, you're a good friend and just a good human being. And so just want to thank you for appearing on this show. I'm here to help any way I can as you go forward. And I thank all of our viewers for watching Family Business World. We will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale.